July 5th, 1943. The steppes around Kursk thunder with the largest tank battle in human history. 2,700 German tanks crush Soviet trenches, minefields sending machinery and body parts flying. It's Germany's last desperate gamble to regain the initiative on the Eastern Front, and the sight is horrific. But let's change one thing. Behind a ridge near Prokhorovka is something no one understands. A 73-ton behemoth from 2017. The M1 SCP V3 Abrams dropped into a battle it was never meant to fight. So what happens when the most advanced main battle tank on Earth is unleashed during one of history's bloodiest armored clashes? Can it single-handedly stop Operation Citadel, or is it just one tank against thousands? First, let's take a look at what we just dropped onto the Eastern Front. The M1 SCP-V3 weighs 73 metric tons. That's 146,000 pounds of composite armor and depleted uranium mesh that makes Tiger tanks look like tin cans. It's powered by a 1,500 horsepower gas turbine engine that sounds like a jet, and it screams across rough terrain at 42 miles per hour. Its armor is so advanced that even modern anti-tank weapons struggle against it. It has Chobham-style composite layers mixed with depleted uranium inserts, giving it protection equivalent to over 600 millimeters of steel on the front. For perspective, a Tiger tank's dreaded 88 millimeter gun could penetrate maybe 150 millimeter of armor at typical combat range. Against an Abrams, it's lucky if it can leave a mark. The main gun is a 120 millimeter M256 smoothbore cannon firing depleted uranium sabot rounds that travel at 1.5 kilometers per second. These aren't the steel shells of 1943. They're fin-stabilized darts designed to punch through modern reactive armor. A Panther's frontal armor might as well be cardboard. But here's where it gets unfair. Third-generation thermal imaging. The Abrams can see heat signatures through darkness, smoke, and camouflage. Its ballistic computer calculates wind speed, target movement, and barrel droop, then puts rounds on targets at over 3 kilometers. In 1943, most tank battles happened at 500 meters because that's all their optics allowed. The Abrams also packs a coaxial 7.62 millimeter machine gun, a remote-controlled 50 caliber on the turret, and another 7.62 for the loader. Even without resupply, it's still got over 11,000 rounds of ammunition ready to turn German infantry and machinery into mist. But Germany's not going to make it that easy. They've assembled the best of the Wehrmacht for Operation Citadel. We're talking 17 Panzer divisions with almost 3,000 tanks and assault guns. The stars of the show are the 146 Tiger I heavy tanks with their 88 millimeter guns, 200 brand new Panther medium tanks making their combat debut, plus hundreds of Panzer IVs and IIIs that form the backbone of the German armor. And these aren't just museum pieces in 1943. They're crewed by veterans who conquered France, crushed Yugoslavia, and nearly took Moscow. Their Tigers can knock out T-34s at a kilometer. Their Panthers have sloped armor and high-velocity guns. Their combined arms tactics revolutionized warfare. Supporting them are Ferdinands, 90-ton tank destroyers with guns that can penetrate 200 millimeters of armor, Stuka dive bombers ready to drop 500-pound bombs with precision, artillery batteries, assault guns, and 500,000 German soldiers. While the Soviets historically met this with defense with 5,000 tanks of their own, today it's just one Abrams, one crew, and no modern support. Dawn, July 5th. German commanders receive their final orders. Model's 9th Army attacks from the north, while Manstein's 4th Panzer Army strikes from the south. The goal? Pinch off the Kursk salient and trap 2 Soviet fronts. The Abrams crew, positioned near Prokhorovka in the south, watches through their thermal sights as hundreds of German tanks begin their advance. At 3,000 meters, almost 2 miles, their commander identifies the lead Tigers. The gunner places his crosshairs on the first Tiger's turret ring. The ballistic computer does its magic. The loader slams a sabot round home. The 120 millimeter gun barks. Downrange, the Tiger's turret launches skyward, and its crew never saw what killed them. Before the Germans can process what happened, the Abrams fires again. Another Tiger becomes a funeral pyre. Then a Panther joins the inferno, and a Panzer IV splits in half. The German advance stumbles. Radio channels explode with panicked reports. Their tanks are dying to an invisible enemy at impossible range. Commanders order smoke screens, but the Abrams thermals see the engine heat straight through. SS Panzer units tried their signature move, a concentrated thrust with Tigers leading the charge. The Abrams loader feeds round after round to stop the charge. German tanks explode in sequence, turned into scrap metal before they get within their own firing range. A Ferdinand tank destroyer finds a good hold-down position and fires its massive gun at a distant muzzle flash. The 200mm penetrator round strikes the Abrams frontal armor and shatters like glass. The Abrams only has to return fire once. The Ferdinand's armor, the thickest in the German arsenal, offers zero protection against a depleted uranium dart traveling at 3 times the speed of sound. By midday, German commanders face a crisis. The Southern Thrust had lost 60 tanks to a single enemy vehicle they can't even locate properly. Surviving crews report a ghost tank that kills without warning from beyond visual range. The Luftwaffe scrambles Stukas to find and destroy this superweapon, but the Abrams crew sees them coming on thermal imaging. The commander traverses his remote weapons station, and the 50 caliber mount spits armor-piercing incendiary rounds skyward. Stukas attempting their signature dive find themselves riddled with bullets that punch through their engine blocks. German infantry tries to close in using the burning hulks of their own tanks as cover. The Abrams coaxial machine gun chatters continuously. Bodies pile up in windows of torn flesh and Feldgrau uniforms. The loader's M240 sweeps the flanks. No one gets within 500 meters. Then comes Prokhorovka proper, July 12th. What should be history's largest tank battle becomes history's weirdest tank battle. 2 SS Panzer Corps charges forward with 300 tanks and assault guns. The Abrams hold down on perfect terrain and methodically destroys them. Every shot connects. Every hit kills. The computer doesn't miss and doesn't stop firing. Tigers, Panther, Panzer IVs, Stu-Gs all meet the same fate. A flash on the horizon. Then explosive decapitation. Tank crews who conquered Europe watch helplessly as their comrades vanish in pillars of flame and steel. But the Abrams can't last forever. After destroying its 40th tank, the Abrams has 8 main gun rounds remaining. The coax is down to its last belt. The 50 cal mount lights up with ammunition warnings. Worse, the turbine has been running continuously for 8 hours. Fuel gauges show 20%. In an hour, maybe 2, the terror of the battlefield will become a paperweight, a sitting duck. German commanders smartly notice the rate of fire decreasing. They probe with sacrificial units, trying to force the Abrams to waste its remaining rounds. Infantry teams with satchel charges creep through ravines, artillery observers call in coordinates. A lucky 150mm shell actually lands close enough to damage the Abrams thermal imaging array. Suddenly, its overwhelming advantage shrinks. It can still fight, but now it's half blind. The crew makes a tactical decision: withdraw while they can still move. As the Abrams reverses from its position, German units cautiously advance over a battlefield littered with hundreds of their destroyed vehicles. When Operation Citadel ends, the Germans have lost over 400 tanks in the southern sector alone, most to a single vehicle. Some tank crews refuse to advance, believing the Soviets have deployed super tanks, but the strategic impact is minimal. One tank, no matter how advanced, can't hold a 100-mile front. While it savaged the Germans at Prokhorovka, other sectors would proceed normally. The Abrams might win every tactical engagement, but without fuel, ammunition, and an army to exploit its victories, it's just one machine delaying the inevitable. The Abrams at Kursk wouldn't be able to stand up to the German forces, but it would carry significantly more than its weight. It would compress weeks of German losses into hours and probably convince a few Germans who witnessed the carnage to pack up and head home early. Or what do you think would happen? If you're curious what would happen if a modern submarine fought at Pearl Harbor, check out the video on screen now. Thanks for watching.